Hey Earl. All right, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and go over the disclosures. And like I mentioned to you over the phone, these documents are all the same that I could share with every buyer and seller for every transaction, but they differ in the fact that there are a select few that are specific for a house. Like they're the same documents, but they have questions relating to that house that is being sold. So this is one of those documents, the TDS. It is it has a bunch of yes or no questions, as you'll see, and so we want to go ahead and look at every single check, or in this case, cross or X that they put for every item, as well as the questions. And you'll see the questions on the next page. All right. So in this case, we can see that the seller is not occupying the property. We know that it's vacant. And what I like to look for here is obviously you want to look at all of this stuff. But what I like to personally look at is this public sewer system. And we have city water, utility gas, and this right here. In this case, there's a garage, but there's no it's not really a garage because it was converted. But we're looking for to see if there's any door openers. There's none, right? So and then I also like to look at this section right here, more specifically this section. And here again, these sellers, they just bought it 2 months ago. They're not knowledgeable about this house, and that's why you have roof type asphalt shingles. I mean, you could tell that it's a shingle roof, but they don't know the age, right? Because they're not the original owners, or they're not the ones who put the roof. They just bought it how it was. And then here you have yes or no. Now, one thing to know is best of seller's knowledge, right? And then is are you aware of, right? So you'll see it here. One second. Let's go ahead and let me zoom it in. There we go. Okay, so are you seller aware of any significant defects or malfunctions, right? They put no. And it's going to be the same thing with these questions. Are you seller aware of? When they say no, it's not like, for example, was there a death in the property in the last 3 years? If they say no, it doesn't mean that there wasn't a death. It's just that they're not aware of. Again, and this is a perfect example, because these owners just bought these sellers just bought the house 2 months ago. So they're not gonna know. They may not know if there was a death that happened there 2.5 years ago, right? Maybe the previous owners or the previous sellers did not tell them. So if they put no, there was no death in the last 3 years, and then you talk to a neighbor, and the neighbor tells you, yeah, there was a death here about 2 years ago, they're protected, the sellers, because this is asking, are you seller aware of? The seller can easily say, hey, maybe there was, but I wasn't aware of one, right? It's not saying no, there was never one. It's I was not aware of one. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, just rewatch that part of the video. But anywho, for these, we want to look, well, what I want to look for is for any yeses. For any yeses that they put, they would have to give an explanation right here as to why they put yes. And so they put no on all of these. Let's see. Okay, so they're no. And then here's the document where you will be, you and your dad will be signing and dating. And then this is another one of those documents that is specific to this house, in the sense that the questions here are all the same questions that they ask for every property, but they're going to differ depending on the house or on the property, right? And here, again, is seller, are you aware? Oh, right here. Are you seller aware of? And so one of the questions that I get asked a lot by clients is this one, the death one. Has anybody died in the property within the last 3 years? Now, from what I remember, you said that to you. That's not that big of a deal. I don't think it is either. For some people, it is. So it doesn't really matter what I think. It's what the buyer thinks about the situation. And so in this case, they put no. And same thing with the other ones. They put a lot of no's, no yeses. So they don't have to explain anything because they didn't put any yeses. Right, so let's keep going. I'm looking for yeses. But I highly recommend you to go ahead and go through every single one of them to ensure that you know what it is that they're answering no to. Now, I'm already seeing here something that I do not like, and it's the fact that whether the property was built before 1978. Yeah, the property was. And what did they put? They put no. So to me, I mean, I don't want to jump to any conclusions or assume anything, but I don't like the fact that they just put no when clearly the property was built prior to 1978. But here again, are you seller aware of? Are they aware of it? They may say, no, we're not. We just bought it. We don't care about the age. We're not going to go in there looking for the age because then now the more we know, the more we have to share, right? So, in a sense, they're accurate in what they're saying if they indeed are not aware of the age. But I mean, who doesn't know the age of their house, right? But again, I'm not the seller, so that's how I interpret it. It doesn't mean that that's how they interpret it. So, okay, here they put a yes. So what is it? The leasing of any of the following on-reserved property, solar. Okay, so solar system. That's one. And then here we go. It's 8B. Okay, so 8B, solar panels are leased by Tesla. It's a 20-year lease and started in 2015. So we already know that, but what matters is for them to put it in writing. So they put yes, and they explain why. All right, any more yeses? No. Okay. We have a yes here for past or present leaks. Okay, repairs, pool, sprinklers, whatever. Here they put pool was cracked and it was repiped and replastered. The pool looked good. Oh, by the way, when we were at the home inspection, there was somebody who was who went out there to go. They were doing something with the pool. I'm not sure they were cleaning the pool or what, but they were taking water samples with the little those tubes where you put water. So I'm not sure if he's measuring the pH levels on those, but there was somebody there doing work on the pool when we were there for the inspection. And so let's see. They put not applicable. They could have put no or not applicable, but not applicable is actually more accurate because it doesn't apply. Any yeses here? Good. No, that's good to know. Okay. Cool. All right, so then you and your dad will go ahead and sign here and date. Okay. So agent visual inspection disclosure. There are going to be two documents of these. This is from the seller, and you're going to have one from the buyer's agent, which is me. So what this document is we as the agents have to go look at these houses, properties, and note whatever we visually see. We're not inspectors, so we're not actually looking for what's wrong at the properties. We're just gonna go ahead and note whatever we do see ourselves. I see in the open, right? We're not gonna open cabinets or anything like that. It's just what we visually see in and around the property. So again, this is from the seller's agent, and you can go ahead and read here what all that stuff means. So see, for example, agent will not climb onto a roof or into an attic because again, we're not actively looking for stuff. We're just noting what we visually see as you're walking around the property. So in this case, oh wow, they put the temperature. That's funny. So this is when they did their inspection, their AVID agent visual inspection. So entry, small cracks on front door at the bottom. And then nothing noted here. Small nails, holes on the walls. Nothing noted, nothing noted, nothing noted, nothing noted. So it's pretty... There's nothing on this document, right? There's nothing, pretty much. Okay, so must have more information. So in your dad's in here, date there. And then this document is in the event the seller has to pay taxes in the sale of the property. The buyer is supposed to withhold some of the funds so that the taxes could get paid. However, in California, the escrow companies take that role of getting the seller's social security number and seeing whether or not they have to pay any taxes on the sale in the event that they are non-resident alien of the U.S. They are a corporation, but they're still gonna check their TIN number. It's not a foreign corporation, right? Because if they are, then they would have to pay taxes if they take that money out. But yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Escrow will go ahead and get that TIN number and check that out, or TIN number, TIN, tax identification number. This one right here. So they're gonna go ahead. Oh, actually, I don't know if you saw that. This one right here. So they'll go ahead and check on that. These sellers will have to pay taxes though, because they do have capital gains taxes since they bought the property and are selling it within 2 years. But that doesn't apply to us. So, and Gavino Hernandez is the representative of the entity. He's the CEO. So here you and your dad will sign and date. And then if you want to read the guidelines on this document, you can go ahead and do that here. And then you will both initial the second page. And then this document here is the one I told you about if you wanted to get a lead-based paint assessment, because this house was built pre-1978. You're going to have to... So this is none for these. Since you are... If you're not going to do the assessment, then you're going to go ahead and check this right here that you're waiving to conduct a risk assessment or inspection on the house when it comes to lead-based paint. And then we have this one, residential earthquake disclosure. This is another one of those documents that is applicable to that house, to this house, I should say. And here we have yes for water heater brazed, and then don't know for these. Here doesn't apply for tall foundation walls brazed. And if your home has a room over the garage, oh yeah, not applicable. So these tend to always have those same answers. And then we have this document stating that you have received from the booklets Homeowner's Guide to Environmental Hazard and Earthquake Safety. I'm going to go ahead and email that to you. It's going to be one sheet with a couple links for you to go ahead and click and get access to those books. They are pretty long. Together, that PDF is about 130 something pages, I think it is. It's pretty long. It's nothing specific to this house. It's just more general information that has to be shared or provided to the buyer. And then we have affiliated business arrangement disclosure, letting you know that the owners of the brokerage Center 21 Desert Rock, which is the brokerage for the seller's agent, has business relationships with the following settlement service providers. And that is, please take notice that Ardent Escrow, DBA. Okay, so who's the provider? A non-independent broker escrow, 100%. What's the escrow's company's name? I'm trying to see who the DBA, yeah, but who's the actual company they're using, or that they have ownership of? So maybe they're just letting us know it's a DBA, because this is the actual name of the company, but this is the DBA. So maybe that's what they're letting us know here. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Because I don't see any other name of a company. Okay, so that's probably what it is. And then you'll see a similar document to this from my office here shortly. And then market condition advisory, letting you know that the market is always moving and that the value will change. Also that as a buyer, you're responsible to determining how much you want to offer for the property and the risk of submitting offers without any contingencies. The contingencies are the inspection or due diligence contingency. You have the appraisal contingency and the loan contingency. You did not waive any of those, so your contingencies are intact. So what a contingency is you as a buyer, you're saying, hey, I'm buying this property subject to this thing, right? And the things are the loan contingency, the appraisal contingency, and the investigation contingency. The investigation is like the inspections and the home inspection, or the home inspection and the disclosures, right? Or any other inspections you want to do. Even going to the county and getting information on, for example, the ADU, whether or not it's permitted. But you have the ability to cancel if you're not satisfied with that portion or with that condition, right? Because again, it's I'm buying this property if And so if you actually are satisfied with the inspection contingency, if you're satisfied with the appraisal, and that's more on the lender, not you, and if you're able to get the loan contingent or the full loan approval. Okay, so we have 17 days, 17 days, and 17 days to get those inspections done. And once those 17 days pass, we have to tell the sellers, hey, we're good with the property. I'm signing this document. Going forward, if I do cancel, my deposit is at risk of being, I've given up the deposit to the seller. So that's what we want to perform and get everything done as soon as possible, so that if we have to cancel for whatever reason, we do it within that time frame. And then go ahead and read that portion of the MCA, and then seller's consideration, and then here you can sign and date. All right, and then we have the water conserving plumbing fixtures and carbon monoxide detector notice, letting you know that properties built on or before January 1st, 1994 have to have plumbing fixtures that are water efficient, right? Because this document came out when we were facing that drought. And so California implemented this to where these properties have to be have to have fixtures that are water efficient. However, it is not a requirement when selling the property. It's just letting you know whether or not there are the property contains those fixtures. In fact, that is going to be right here. Although the installation of water container plumbing fixtures is not a point of sale. Also, beginning 2017, that's when it happened. Beginning 2017, properties built prior to this. So it is not a point of sale requirement. It is just seller to disclose to the buyer the requirements concerning and whether or not the property contains any not compliant water fixtures. That's all it is. Okay. And then this one, the carbon monoxide detector, is letting you know, both you and the seller, that state law requires that the property does have carbon monoxide detectors. Okay, so sign here, date here. And then WDA, this document keeps getting changed, but it was introduced, I think it was 2019 or 2020, when there was wildfires that were actually burning down houses. And so this is to let you know that you are able to use these resources to see whether or not the property is located in a high fire hazard area, because sometimes, or actually oftentimes, the homeowners insurance providers will not cover properties in high fire hazard areas, or if they do, they may charge a higher premium. So again, you're able to use these resources to see whether or not your property or this property is located within a high fire hazard area. Oh, here, higher, very high fire hazard severity zone. Okay. And then we have statewide buyer and seller advisory. This is a 14-page document that talks. It's a pretty good document, actually. It's pretty long, but it's really good. Talks about a bunch of different aspects of buying a house. So if you never bought a house before, you know nothing about the buying process, you know nothing about houses, nothing about anything, you can go ahead and read this document, and you give it like a short paragraph on different topics or subjects you can go ahead and get an idea about and get introduced to, and then can go ahead and do more investigation on those areas of interest if you want. Okay, so it's 14 pages. Okay, and then we have, I told you about this document, the mold and water intrusion disclosure agreement, letting you know that there is a possibility of mold and water being inside the property, and that you as the buyer, you have the ability and right to hire appropriate parties to go and assess whether or not the property has, these things present at the house. So again, just letting you know, so you're both going to sign there. And this is the Keller Williams ABA, similar to the one that we went over earlier. In this case, the owners of my brokerage have a financial interest in the company's Escrow Plus, Orange Coast Title, and Franklin Loan Center. We're not using any of these companies, so it doesn't really matter. But they have to still let you, both you and the seller, know about that interest that they hold. And then buyer specialized inspection advisory is kind of like what I keep saying to you, and that is that you as a buyer, you have the ability to inspect anything and everything you want about the house. And here are some of the things that you can go ahead and get inspected. Obviously, there's more that you can go ahead and get inspected when it comes to a house, but this is just to give you an idea of some of the items. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully this video helps. All right, bye.